All right. If I'm going to be completely honest, I really don't care. I don't. What don't I care about? I don't care if you're watching this video. Oh, wait. Don't get mad. Don't get butthurt. Don't get sad. I'm not saying I'm not glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. But if you're not here, it wouldn't matter. You know what? Here's the thing. I should say this. This video, the intention of this video is not made for you. I'm glad this umbagog is made for me because I am in my happy place. One of them. This is my shop. Hot mess, man. A messy shop means a working man or woman. All right. But my shop, this is the cleanest spot. I mean, I've got all sorts of stuff. We got the lathe over there, the drill press over there. We got the press over there. We got the stuff to make coin rings and coin cigar rests and stuff. We got Ryobi everywhere. It's actually, I like it. When I got nothing else to do, I want to come out here and sit, smoke on a good cigar, and just create, or just pretend to create, or putter, and move things around, right? I do. I got it wired for sound. That Ryobi speaker blows me out of the room. So I got cigars right in the studio right there. And this umbagog is burning just fine. Boy, howdy goodness. This is great. So, why am I making this video? Good question. Glad you asked. I'm getting old. I've been old, but I'm getting older. I'm 54. Soon to be. No, today. Today. When you watch this, I turn 54. And it dawns on me that, number one, great stories come from a lot of silliness or a lot of not so wisdomy. And I found that I'm a lot less silly, and I'm not saying I'm more wise, but my stories ain't as impactful as my stories used to be when I was just bored out and wide open. But my forgetter gets a little bit stronger every day. And I want to remember my stories so I can tell my stories to my grandkids and hopefully my great-grandkids, and maybe if God blesses me, my great-great-grandkids. And if not, I want to leave a legacy where they can watch and say, boy, I don't want to be like Big Daddy, but he sure was somebody. So this is one of them stories. Revolves around Quality Glass and Mirror out of Gainesville, Florida. A white Fiero and a young boy, 13. Summertime, Florida, hot. Went and got a job. Like money. Got told I got to work. Went out and got me a job. At a glass company. Sweeping up. Learning a trade. Good job. So it was run by a family. It was Richard Yaxley, which is the old man. Rick Yaxley, and that was the younger guy. He was probably 35 at that point, a little flashy. Then there was the third. They called him Third because it was Richard Yaxley the third, which is a little boy about 5 or 6. He'd putter around the shop. He gave me a job. I learned to work hard. One of the things about cutting glass, by the way, if you didn't know about the name Quality Glass and Mirror, it's cutting glass. One of the things about cutting glass is when you cut big sheets of glass, they got these neat tables made out, they're covered in carpet that is on a hinge, and it lays down straight up vertical. You pick up the glass, you put the glass on there, and you lay the table down so you don't bust the glass. Pretty smart. Well, my job mainly was to sweep up, clean up, pick up, put up, and everything else. I was looking for opportunities to do other stuff, but one of the things I had to do was Ricky, actually, Had a fancy Fiero, 1982, 1983, 1981 Fiero, white, blue interior. Bad car, right? Back then, that was the car, right? And I had to wash it and detail it all the time. And I had just given it a good wash. I did. And I was going back in, and they were bringing up a piece of glass, big old piece of plate, and they're putting up on the table. And I'd watch these guys. They would jump up on the table and slide across the table and cut it all the way across. And I'm like, man, they're jumping on glass. They are so freaking cool. I was always impressed with work. I could watch it all day. So I jumped up. I went to sweeping and I was watching. I learned to cut glass a little bit. Little glass cutter, right? I cut glass. All right. Could do basics. Well, the guys liked me. The older guys liked me that worked there. You know, I was a getter. I was make it did. I was looking for opportunities. I wasn't one of these people sandbagging and hiding in the corner. You had to go find them. I was under your feet, bothering you again. Can I do that? Can I do that? Can I do that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Because I want to learn. So I got over there, and there was nothing left to do. I had swept that joker clean. I had taken out all the garbage. I had cleaned everything, and they said, "Oh, we need to get up there and cut that there." I said, "Can I do it?" And they said, "Sure." Now the Yaxley fellers were in the office. They wouldn't have let me do it. Good reason. So the Yaxley fellers weren't in the shop. They're in the office, and there were a couple guys out there, and they were country. They were like, "Yeah, no, get it, boy, get up there and get it. Just get on up in there." So I started halfway climbing. They're like, "No, you don't get up on there like that. You jump up and slide." Well, what I didn't know is that somebody had slid the glass right to the edge of the table. And so I went to run and jump up. I thought that was where the carpet was, and it wasn't. It was a piece of glass. Now I know you're thinking I broke the glass. Big old boy like me. I was a big old boy back then too. But I didn't break the glass. The glass broke me. I went and jumped up there. And the edge of that glass went up under the meat of my knee. Big old hawking gash. I still got the scar to this day. I went up under there, flipped that meat up in there. I came back down. I felt so bad that I had bled on the. I mean, I wasn't thinking about me. I was like, I can't believe I bled on that stuff. I'm sorry. I got to clean that. Da 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 da. They just made me sit down and wrapped it up, put pressure on it. And I'm like, no, let me go clean that. Let me go clean that. And they finally, one of the boys, he's a big old boy, he's a swole boy. Oh my God. I think it was on work release. He said, "You don't sit down, I'm gonna punch you in the head, boy." I sat down. So, Ricky, the middle Yaxley, they all came out. And I apologized, and I apologized. I mean, I'm 13 years old. I thought I was going to lose my job because I got hurt. So I apologized and apologized, and he goes, "We got to take, where do you live?" And I said, "I live about a mile and a half down that way. I can ride my bike home." I said, "Boy, shut up. I'm loyal, but I ain't bright." That's true. If you ain't smart, you ought to be tough. And boy, I'm tough. So, he said, "You ain't riding your bike. Get in the car." And I said, "No." He looked at me like I had just kicked his dog. He goes, "No." I said, "No. I detailed that. I'm going to bleed in your car. I can't bleed in your car. I'm going to bleed in your car." He goes, "Boy, shut up." And I said, "Yes, sir." And I'm in there I'm in the car in that nice blue interior, gorgeous, gorgeous car, white car. I got blood on the side of the car when he put me in the car, and it's all bad. And I wrapped it up, and I'm holding the blood. I'm trying to squeeze the blood up. I'm taking in deep breaths, trying to suck the blood back up out my legs so it doesn't bleed on anything, and it's not working. I'm bleeding, and I'm so sorry. It's only a couple miles. He's cool. He's driving home. He's driving me to the house. He goes, "What kind of music you like?" And I said, "Whatever you want, boss." And he put on some freaking, I want to say it was like Top Gun music, right? Danger Zone or something like that. It was one of that kind of boom to boom music. And he hit that thing. Woo! We tore out there spinning dirt. I forgot all about my knee. I was having a good old time, and I think he was too. And he pulled me up to the house, and he said, "You sit there." And he got out. He went to the house. He asked me what my mama's name is. He said, "What's your mama's name?" I said, "Mama." He goes, "Boy!" I said, "Madeline." I ain't thinking about it. I'm bleeding in the Fiero. He goes, "Boy!" I said, "It's Madeline." And he comes up and he goes, "Miss Finley." I can hear him. Da 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 da. My mom looks out over the thing, and she looks back at him. She looks out over the thing, and then she closes the door. And he comes walking back, and I'm sitting there going, "My mama done throwed me away." Now you gotta remember, I was a bad kid. Oh my God, I was a bad kid. Mama let me go be gone all day long in the summertime when I didn't work, just so she didn't have to put up with dealing with me. I was a hot mess. I was. I throw me away. Yeah. Anyway, he got in the car. He goes, "Well, your mama's pretty cool." I said, "Yes, sir. That's my mama." He said, "She told me that I should drive you to the hospital because if she drove you to the hospital, she just might kill you." I love my mom. And she probably halfway meant it. And I better not bleed in her car either. We was broke, but we kept all that we had as good as possible. And blood would not have been a good thing. So he ran me to the hospital wide open. I mean, we were hitting it, boy. We was getting it. Hospital was probably, I don't know, 8, 9 miles away. We made it in 8, 9 minutes down the middle of town. I mean, it was all right. I got there. They gave me some stitches, and they sent me home. Mama took me home. I went back to work like a week later. They paid me for that week, and I was so impressed. Boy, that made me so loyal to them. They paid me for that week because they knew that it could be a workman's comp claim, and they got a 13-year-old doing stuff they're not supposed to. It's like you're supposed to be so old before you mess with meat slicers. It goes with other industrial things too. So I didn't know it. I thought they were just being cool, but I took it. They gave me money. I showed back up ready to detail that car and get the blood out. I actually looked up in the encyclopedia how to remove blood stains from fabric. Yeah, I didn't Google it because we didn't have Google. We didn't have cell phones. We had pagers. You had to look it up in the book. You had to go to the library. We had a couple encyclopedia sets at the house, kids set, adult set, and so I looked at both of them, figured out it was peroxide, lemon juice possibly, how to blot it up. I mean, I did some research. I actually learned how to do it, which helped me later in life, but I'm not going to tell those stories because there's not a statute of limitations on things like that, I think. So I went back to work. I was ready to go clean that Fiero. He had it detailed. You couldn't tell I was in it. I came back and everybody was happy to see me. You know, I was like the mascot, rub on the head kind of thing. "What's up, Stitch? What's up, Glassy? Hey, Nebo! Nebo, come here, Nebo!" Right? I almost had 100 nicknames, and I loved it. I loved it. And so one of the younger fellers, during lunch, we're sitting there around lunch. I wouldn't go sit with them unless I was invited because I thought that was their time and they were men and I wasn't yet. And they'd say, Come here and sit with me. Let's talk." And they'd teach me things and tell me things and they'd tell me some things I didn't need to know. Well, I guess I need to know, but I shouldn't have known. I hope that my son never had those conversations with those kind of fellers because it was sullied and colorful. I'll leave it that way. The stories. But he was talking about that glass thing, and I said, "I ain't jumping on that table again. I'll cut my knee." And they said, "No, you just didn't know what you were doing." I'm like, "Well, I ain't doing that no more." He goes, "Yes, you are. We're going to do it right now." He put his food down, and he goes, "Come on." Wiped off his leg. He said, "This is how you do it." And he ran and slid on there. He goes, you got to make sure that the glass, a plate, they call it plate, the plate is back so far. When you hit, you want to hit just to where you're just flat with it, because the glass won't take pressure going this way. Glass takes pressure this way, and that's how it busts. You got to kind of glide across and slide. Twist your feet a little bit. The other fellas were kind of watching. They said, no, that's not what you do. This is what you do. And so it became a 45-minute out of a 30-minute lunch break lesson on how to slide up on there. And they said, all right, big boy, come get yourself up on there. Slide up on there. I said, oh, no. And they said, come on, do it without glass. So I did. I slid up on there after the second time. Then he put the glass up there. And at that point, I didn't know it. But Mr. Yaxley Sr. was out there watching. And I ran and I jumped up and I slid across. I didn't bust a glass. And everybody cheered. And as I got off that glass, I turned off the table. I turned around and looked, and there was Mr. Yaxley with his arms crossed. And I knew I was fired. And he looked at me and he goes, come here, Sean. I said, yes, sir. He goes, let's go in the office. I know that's bad. I've seen enough TV to know that when the boss man calls you in the office after you've did something like that, you're in trouble. And all the guys scattered like ants or roaches when the lights come on. Like, ooh, we done lost that boy his job. Sat me down, big old cushy chair. He sat back in his chair and he goes, look, we want to keep you safe. We want you to do what you're supposed to do. Told you not to jump up on them tables, but you did anyway. I'm sitting there. If I would have had a hat, which I did, I would have had my hat in my hand going, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. You know, just. He goes, but I got to tell you, I appreciate your push. I appreciate your drive. And usually, when a man can jump up on a table and not bust glass, it's time for a raise when they come out as an apprentice. And he goes, so I think I'm going to give you $1 an hour raise. Holy crap! That took me from $275 to $375. That meant my paycheck was $100 a week after taxes. Man, the first time I got my check, I thought I was going to get $101, and the taxes came out, and I said, what is this? I'm missing $20. And he goes, no, that's tax. I said, I don't like tax. It's going to be over $100. I walked out there like a boss. And the fella said, hey, you got fired? I said, no, I got a raise. He said, what? I told him the story. And he said, well, you owe us a case of soda because we got you a raise. It's another story for another day, but you will laugh as to what it looks like for a 13-year-old boy to ride a beach cruiser 1.5 miles, 2 miles to the Jiffy store, Little Champ convenience store, and then ride another 2.5, 3 miles back with a 24-pack of soda in a flat paper on the handlebars of a beach cruiser bike, 1-speed, black with gold chrome. That bike, white walls, big fat white walls. Anyway, that's it. So, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you watched. I'm glad you got to see my shop. I'm glad I told the story. Glad I lived it. I hope my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids will say, you know what? That Big Daddy was a good man. And boy, did he have some stories. And this is one of them. So, make great stories, tell great stories. Live a life worth living. Live as long as you can, because the world is better with you in it. And I mean that. I love you. I'll see you later. Later, Tater.